All right, welcome back to The Hill on NewsNation. The California Senator Dianne Feinstein returned to Capitol Hill last week after more than 2 months away from recovering from shingles. But new reporting now from the New York Times, just from a couple hours ago, finds that her health was actually worse than previously known. According to the Times, shingles spread to her face and neck, causing facial paralysis to the senator, known as Ramsay-Hunt syndrome. Feinstein also had an unreported case of encephalitis, which can leave patients with lasting memory or language problems, sleep and mood disorders, confusion, headaches, and difficulty walking. Sherry Bustos is a former Democratic representative from Illinois and the chair of the DCCC, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. She joins us now. There's Sherry. Hi.
Hi, Blake.
How are you? Thanks for coming in. It's a tough story with Senator Dianne Feinstein. You were basically the head of the campaign arm in the House for Democrats. In the Senate, there are, well, really in the House, there are calls for Dianne Feinstein to resign. She's 89 years old, and now we find out her health is a lot worse than once believed. What should happen from here?
Well, it's a Dianne Feinstein decision. I mean, she's the one who has to say, I'm going to resign or I'm going to stay. And it looks like she's making a decision to stay. If she decides to leave, Gavin Newsom, we have a Democrat as governor in the state of California, so he would appoint a Democrat. He has been public about he would appoint a black woman to take that seat. But then, of course, you've got what will be a robust primary with Barbara Lee, right, with Adam Schiff, and with Katie Porter. And so the concern might be if he appoints, I don't know if Barbara Lee would be the person he would appoint, but that would give her a lead if that were the case.
So we were talking before, during the break, we have to give a shout out to Galesburg, Illinois, which was in your district in my hometown.
I love knowing that. I liked you the moment I saw you.
It was Galesburg, Illinois. But no, it's tough because Feinstein has been a legend for women.
Yeah.
I mean, for a lot of us, you know, she paved the way for us to have a path in politics. And to watch now, my issue has been, you know, we've got 1 in 8 Americans live in the state of California. You've only got 2 senators from that state. And it's not just about voting, right? It's about negotiating. And I know the politics is going to be difficult. And that is probably one of the most expensive Senate races. You are absolutely right.
Biggest state in the country.
Don't you think there's someone who could lean on her and say, come on?
Well, look, I don't disagree with anything you're saying. Everybody deserves to have the best representation they can possibly have. But back to what I just said to Blake, it is her decision. You know, I don't know if Chuck Schumer is going to put any pressure on her, but in the end, it is her decision.
You know, real quick, back in your wheelhouse real quick, and curious what you think about this. There's a lack of emphasis, a lack of enthusiasm, a lack of energy among Democrats with the current president who's running for re-election. Are you worried at all? You were at the head of the DCCC that this could impact down ballot for congressional Democrats?
You're saying that Joe Biden will impact down ballot?
Yeah, lack of enthusiasm.
Well, look, who's ever at the top of the ticket impacts who's ever at the bottom of the ticket. I mean, that's just the way it works. But look, I think Joe Biden's got a great story to tell. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a Democrat and we're having this conversation and it's public. Right. I would say this behind the scenes as well. He's got a great story to tell. I come from, when you're talking about Galesburg, Illinois, I'm a downstate Illinoisan. 85% of the towns that I represented for the previous 10 years have 5,000 people or fewer in them. 60% have 1,000 people or fewer. That said, he's done so much for rural America, yet Democrats bomb in rural America. So, and I think it's a matter of telling the story, what Joe Biden and the administration has done, and repeat, 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 repeat. We just have to talk about it.
You would love for Joe Biden to tell his story, wouldn't you, Morgan? I think that's part of the argument that Republicans say.
I think so. But I wonder if I could switch to a policy issue that I think that you know about. So Montana is banning TikTok. There's been a national conversation by Republicans and Democrats here in D.C. If it should have a federal ban as well. The White House has banned it off of White House cell phones and communication systems. Where do you fall on this? Should individual states be taking these steps to ban TikTok?
You can't do it individually. I mean, what they're talking about, putting up geofencing, so if you're within the borders of Montana, you can't use that. Then they're talking about the workaround is going to be, well, you get some other phone number or whatever. I don't know enough of the backstory on that. But the concern about TikTok is what the Chinese government has access to. I have not been in a classified briefing about what that entails. But there's enough concern both from Democrats and Republicans to say that there should be a ban. Congress needs to debate this publicly. I think every time members of Congress, the House or the Senate, are talking about social media, though, everything I hear from younger people is like, oh my gosh, they don't know what in the heck this is all about. But look, we've got to figure it out. And if it truly is compromising our security because of the Chinese government's connection to TikTok, then we got to take a look at it.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.